it's also fine. I will nearly continue with a session and recording, and then we'll post it afterwards as well. So I know there's been some connection problems for last week or two. Okay, so basically going to continue with the exam prep. What I am also going to do is, so after we've done with the following nearly it, hopefully we get to the last, but then for the next session again, I got another exam paper, so we can go through that. If you have any questions that you come across as you prepare, but again, I know you guys are writing it quite far off in the exam, but then post it on the WhatsApp group. I will add it to our sessions, and then we can go through it. Okay, so let's look at this one. We're going into simplification again, but what they've done with this one is a bit different. So they've given you three problems that you need to nearly work out. So what I thought was, okay, let's do the one that we need to plus the two together. So that might be the easiest before we get into the other two. So it might be that with identifying that answer, we don't need to work out a lot of the others. So basically, when we look at this, we can see that we need to get a common denominator. On the one hand, we've got 10. On the other hand, we've got 12. So probably the best one is 60. So that we can say, well, 10 goes into 60. 6 times 6 times 3 is 18. And then on the other side, 60 goes into 12. 5 times 5 times 5 is 25. So we have 43 over 60. And strangely enough, only one of these options is that. So they obviously go with a thing that it might be that this one also can be wrong. I think, again, you guys would have seen in your assignments, they started moving away from none of the above, but let's just make sure that it's not that one. So I assume this should be divided if I look at that, but let's look at the options. So 12 divided by 6 times 4 over 1. So how I would have done it, 6 goes into 6 once, 6 goes into 12 twice. So that part now is 8 over 1. And then if I need to divide by a half, it can also be that we just change it, that divide by half is the same as multiply by 2 over 1. So we swap that around. So that answer is 16. Okay, so still in line with what we need to get there. The top one, let's first see. I'm hoping as well that is division, but let's work that one out first, and then we see if it was divide or minus. So 4/7 times 9/14. Okay, so let's just quickly, I would have nearly said, okay, we can simplify that, we can multiply, but I would rather first do some simplification on that one. So I would say 4 goes into, or 2 goes into 4 twice, 2 goes into 14/7. So that's maybe an easy one then to first do. So it's 18/7 times 7. Oof, I want to say 49, but yeah, okay. So 18 divided by 49. So it seems like it is probably 3.8, or 3 divided by 8, or 8 divided by that answer. So let's just write that. 8 divided by 18/49. Or we can then say, as we did with this one, 3/8 times 49/18. Okay, so 3 goes into 3 once, 3 go into 6 times. So what I would have then gotten is 49 divided by 64. So where did the 727 come from? Okay, so let's just, so let me just look at that again, unless I wanted that to be the answer. To see if I didn't make a mistake. So 2 goes into 4 twice, 2 goes into 14 7 times, so that is 18/49. So if we then say 3/8 divided by 18/49, and then we say 3/8 times 49/18. Okay, so then, yeah, 3 goes into there, 3 goes into there 6 times. So we have actually out of there 49 divided by 8 times 6, which is, okay, very strange answer. Did I miss anything? But that is when 1 and 1/48. Okay, let me just test something else. So if it was like that, and we said we do that one first, so 3/8 times 7/4, because we're doing that component first, it would have been, sorry, 21/32. And then if we multiplied it by 9/14, let's just see what we get. So 14 goes, or 7 goes into 14 twice. 7 goes in there 3 times. So now I would have gotten 27 over 64. Okay, which is that option. It should work out as the same. So it doesn't matter which order. So that is quite interesting. So obviously in this I made a mistake, but it should be exactly the same. Doesn't matter which order you do it. So that is quite fascinating. I will just check this one out again, and see if I did not make a mistake somewhere in the calculation, and then I will just post it onto WhatsApp. So that is definitely 27 over 64, but it should work out the other way around as well. So the correct answer. So this one nearly tested that you can do the division. Normally you won't get two divisions. Normally you will get the plus, the negative, and then a division. But also let me know if you guys have the none of the above, because I would then nearly have at this point already selected C, and would not even have continued with the other ones. So then I will select the easiest one to do first. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Now we're going into equations, and they ask us the equation of a line passing through these points is. So they don't tell us. We need to nearly work that out. So x is -1 and 2, so that is -1 and 2, and then 2 and 1. So that is nearly the points where this is going through. So the first thing that we can work out is the slope. So the slope is the change in y divided by the change in x. So we take the change in y, so 2 minus 1, and the change in x, -1 minus 1. Okay, so 2 minus 1 is 1, -1 minus 1 is -2. So the slope already is minus a half. Okay, so we can check. Come on, did I now make another mistake? I'm now 2 minus 1. Ugh, easy how I make these mistakes today. Sorry, so -1 minus 2, which gives us -3, so minus a third. Just by one needs to concentrate with these ones. So actually the slope is -1 over 3. So that one can be, that one can't be. It is minus because that is a negative slope. So can't be, and maybe. So basically at the moment we have y is equal to 1 over 3x plus c. So what we can do is any of these points we can put back into the equation to work out c. So let's use the two positives. So y is equal to 1, x is equal to 2. So we will get 1 is equal to minus 2 over 3 plus c. So when I then take that negative 2 over 3 to the left-hand side, I will get that c is equal to 1 plus 2 over 3, which gives us 5 over 3, which is also equal to, and let's just now see y negative, y is equal to mx plus c, y is 1 minus a third, x was 2. If I take, it is actually positive. Okay, so then with this one, it would have been none of the above because my y cutoff is positive. It should be plus 5 over 3 and not minus. And you can see from this sketch as well, that is between y2 and y1. So it does go between the two positives, 1 and 2. So it should be up there, so it must be positive. So in this instance, it would have been none of the above, because your answer would have been y is equal to 1 minus 1 over 3x plus 5 over 3. Okay, the slope is negative because we're moving from left to right with a downward. If it was going up this way, the slope would have been positive. But it's going the other way around, so that is why it is negative. Huh. Okay, so, and again, I think, but please let me know if any of your assignments, how it was structured, and if I actually included none of the above or not, because again, that makes a big difference, because I would probably have, when I see it 1 over 3 negative, and that was the only one, again, it takes a lot of time for you to make sure that it's not the none of the above. Okay, so that is when you need to work out the equation going to 2 points, work out the slope, then you put the 2 points in that formula to work out the c value, so then you have the slope and the c, and you can get your final equation. Okay, so now we go into a bit of looking at ways to look at percentages, and also if you look at costing. So John bought a watch for 600 Rand. After 6 months, he needed the cash and sold it for 450. So the percentage loss accurate to 2 decimal digits. Okay, so how we do that is to say, okay, so what is the loss divided by the beginning value? So the loss is 600 minus 450, and that divided by your beginning value, which is 600. So your loss is 150 divided by 600 times 100 to get the percentage, because they want percentage loss. So 150 divided by 600 times 100 to get percentage is 25% loss. Okay, so 25% loss. So it's basically you sold it, you've lost 150 Rand in the process. So from what your original value was, which is 600, how big a percentage is that of the loss that you made? 150 divided by the original amount of 600 times 500% will give you a 25%. Okay, so option one. They can ask nearly the same if you bought it for 450, you sold it for 600, what is the percentage profit that you make? So that they can also do. Then it would have just been profit is the 600 minus 450, which would have been 150 as well. But then we would have said divided by 400. If we looked at profit, 450, and then the option would have been option 4. But that is when we look at profit. They haven't asked us that. But if you need to work out the profit, again, the amount that it sold for needs to be bigger than the amount that you bought it for. Okay, so that is nearly one way we work out a loss or profit, and then you need to translate it into a percentage. What they then can also give you is nearly ratios. So in this instance, they say a manufacturer has 3 main ingredients to make polish. The ingredients are melted wax, water, and white spirits, which are mixed in a ratio 2 to 5 to 3. How many liters of melted wax? So let's say that is wax, water, and spirits. How many liters of melted wax are needed to be able to make 50 liters of polish? Okay, so if this is to make 50 liters, how many wax do we need to have? So we can look at this in total. This is 10. So if you add the 2, the 5, and the 3 together, we get 10. So we're gonna split the 50 is basically 5 times 10. So we're gonna multiply that, every one of them, by 5. So that we can get the number of liters, and then just to check your answer, that should then be equal to 50. So let's see, 2 times 5 is 10 liters of wax, 5 times 5 is 25 liters of water, 3 times 5 is 15 liters of spirits. If you add that together, it should give you 15 plus 25 is 40, plus 10 does give you the 50. So we know the ratio is correct. They ask wax, which is then 10 liters. So our answer is the 10 liter. So they could have now, and you can see we've got, if you misread it, we've got the water one. If you misread it, we've got the white spirit one as well. So nearly all the other options is also available for you to work, or nearly to get it wrong, unfortunately. Okay, so that is one where they give you a ratio, they tell you how much liters you need, and you need to split it accordingly to that. They could have also made it 100 liters, and then you just need to change, except where we multiplied by 5. If it was 100 liters, we would have just said, okay, but 100 divided by 10 is 10, so then we would have adapted everything and multiplied it by 10. So nearly the easiest way always to get this is to just check what is this multiple that you need to multiply everything with. Okay, so that was a question around ratios, and then how to work that out. So the next one then, and I think so now we're going to percentages, but now we're nearly in the stage of, we're going to look at simple interest. We might look at a compound interest, and maybe one or two other where we have a recurring or annuity maybe, and something else. So let's look at the following information. So Sipo wishes to purchase a second-hand car costing 22,500. His father will let him all the money at a simple interest rate of 12% per year for 5 years. How much will Sipo need to pay his father in 5 years' time? Okay, he's borrowing 22,500. That is going to earn interest, and then he needs to pay it off. Okay, so the amount that we're going to get to must be bigger than 22,500. Okay, so the first option can't be, because it can't be smaller. And I also want to borrow from this person, so it needs to be bigger. Okay, so it needs to be bigger, so it's 22,500, and how we calculate the interest is for 12% times the 5, so it's 12% times the period, so it's 22,500 times 1. I think it's going to be 1.6, but let's see. Yes, times 1.6. So 22,500 times 1.6 will give us 36,000. Okay, which is option 3. If you look at your 1.3 million, so that is just totally wrong. I think if we did compound, we probably would have gotten the 39,000. But yeah, we use the formula is the S is equal to P1 plus I times N. So that is the formula that we use for this calculation of simple interest. And you will get a simple interest question in the exam, and you will get a compound interest. So, but here again, they are simple. So, but now what they've done is asking a simple interest rate question, but you need to work out the interest rate this time. So they tell us, at what simple interest rate should 9,500 be invested? What interest rate? So that it grows to 12,000 in 18 months' time. So 18 months, remember, is 1.5 years. So we're going to multiply I with 1.5. So that is what we will need to work out. So again, we'll use some of the things we've done in previous chapters. So I want to isolate the I on the one side. So let's start doing that. So this whole thing I will divide by 9,500. So we will do the same on the other side. So 12,000 divided by 9,500 gives me 1,2632. I'm just keeping it at 4 decimals at this stage. So those two will also then cancel out. So on this right-hand side, I'm left with 1 plus I times 1.5. To isolate I, first I will subtract on both sides by 1. So if I do that on this side, I will be left with I times 1.8, 1.5, sorry. On this side, also subtract by 1. So I'm sitting on this side, on the left-hand side, with 0.2632. Then the last thing, to isolate I, need to divide on both sides by 1.5. So I will be equal to 0.1754. Very easy to say when my option is 3, but I need to put it still in a percentage. So need to multiply it by 100, which will then give me 17.54%, which is option 1. So again, just be careful when you look at this, so that you don't use 0.18, because we probably here you could have rounded it off to those 2 decimals, but then your interest is 0.18, not 0.18%. So it's not yet that. So just be careful when you work it out, that your final answer needs to be in a percentage. Okay, so let's look at what the compounded one will look like. So how long to the nearest here? So now look at the compound interest is, so they're not even starting off with the easy compound interest question. They go straight into the difficult one where we need to calculate n. So we're going to follow a very similar process nearly, but at some stage we will need to change that. But interest rate of 10% compounded monthly, and then your n will also need to be, so we can do it 2 ways. So let's first leave n as n. We don't add the 12, and then in the end we will multiply by 12, because we need to put it into months or we need to check into years. So let's just first do it like this, because if n is there, so let's first see what we get from this. So the same process, we'll need to divide on both sides. So on this side again will be 50,000 divided by 36450, and that is equal to 1.3717, which is equal to 1 plus 0.1 divided by 12 to the power of n. Okay, so now I hope you guys have, and I think we have done it, but it might have been very quick, or we might not have even done it. But we need to get that power of n um, away there. So how do we remove the power of n? So that's for one thing. So if we use the formula, we will need to do that. I just quickly want to test with all of this information if we used the financial calculator. So I just want to quickly check if we said with a financial calculator, your present value is that, your future value is 50,000, your interest rate is 10%, it's done 12 times per year. How many years? And I just want to see if this, I calculate this, so at least you've got options in the exam to decide which one you want to use. So 36,450 as present value, 50,000 as future value. There's no payments during that time. 10% interest, 12 times per year. So n would have been 36 or 58 months. And then because it's 58 months, I still need to divide by 12 to get to years. So then approximately the nearest year is 3 years. Okay, so calculator, we could have done it. Just remember, we will get 58 as your n, but that is in months because everything is compounded monthly. Unfortunately, there is also the option of 58 years. So just be careful when you do this, that we know that we need to do it on a monthly basis. The other way on this side that we would have done it, so we would have gotten 3717 is equal to, and then in here it is 0.1 divided by 12 plus 1. So we would have gotten 1,0083 to the power of n. Okay, so then if we just want to see if we take the log of that, I quickly just want to do the calculation before I now do that sum. See where that is on my calculator. Okay, so let's quickly, to get rid of an N, is it log or is it, I just need to go back to our notes. I think it is log, but is it now E? Let me just quickly check. And again, while I'm quickly looking at the notes, are you guys writing open book or is it closed book? So Tamlin, if you can just um in the chat let me know if it's open book or closed book. That will help. Because else one needs to nearly study the process to get to that. Or if it's open book, I will quickly also share where this is in the study guide. Okay. Yeah. So I will also check if I've got any study letters or anything like that. So that we can just see if you're allowed to use formulas, if you're not. So this is on page 125 of your study guide. On page 125 of your study guide. So yes, we're gonna use log. So we basically gonna have log 1.3717 on the one side. We're gonna use log of n so that we can basically say n comes to the front times 1.0083. So then let me quickly, if we say log 1.3717 log, we get 0.3161. And then if we divide by 1. Ooh, okay, let me quickly see what has gone wrong here. And if my calculator is not doing it correctly, no, that can't be. This definitely is not working on my calculator. I'm just quickly want to check in Excel if there is what log is of that, because so that was right to get that. That's right. So it is log of that. I just want to let me work. I'm quickly just making calculations on Excel. Um, just to get this correct. Okay. So let me just add to this. I just want to make some space in here. Okay. So we take, like I said, we take log on both sides. So it will be ln 1.3717 and that will then bring n to a front. And then n is equal to ln or log 1.3717 divided by log of 1.0083, and that will also then give us 38. So again, remember it's months. We need to then transform that into years. Okay, so it is on page 125, but I nearly stopped at a certain point and then didn't go on when I only say but use the financial calculator rather. So we now know both ways. Financial calculator much easier. So definitely I would use financial calculator above the formula. Okay, so that is on a compound interest question. They haven't, like in simple interest, ask you first to do a calculation. So hopefully here it goes, or again it's not. So let's see what is in question 23. The Kiwi moves into a new flat and wants to buy furniture worth of 7,500. Okay. She has 5,500 to invest at the interest rate of 10%, compounded monthly. How long in years will it take for her 5,500 to grow to 7,500? Very strange. It's exactly the same nearly problem that we need to work out. So it's very similar problem that we need to work out. Why they did this in both? Because again, if you needed to work it out with a formula, you would use the log. If not, so let's just see. 5,500 will be your present value. 7,500 will be your future value. 10% will be your interest. It's 12 times per year. So then n will be equal to 37. But again, 37 months because all is in months. So that divided by 12 is 3.1 years. So the closest years again is 4. Sorry, option 4, which is 3 years. Strange that they've asked a similar type of question in the same exam. Yeah, very, very strange that they've done that. I would normally have thought that they would ask something different. Okay, so question 24. Now we're going into nearly that last part where we're hopefully looking at annuities. So this will probably, the last two questions will be on annuities and maybe amortization as well. So let's quickly see this one. Nick bought a house in 1998 for 480,000. He paid 150,000 deposit. Okay, so and he managed to secure a loan for the outstanding amount. So let's first see, the outstanding amount is 480 minus 150,000. So we're looking at an outstanding amount of 350,000. Then he managed to secure a loan for the outstanding amount at 7.75% per year compounded monthly. So again, 12 times per year. That is your interest rate. How many years to 2 decimals will it take Nick to pay his loan off if he makes a 5,000 deposit at the end of every month? So you will make a payment of 5,000, and then after a certain amount of time, the future value will be equal to 0. So then what is our N? Okay, again, 12 times per year. So whatever we get for our value of N will be in months again. So we will need to divide that by 12. So 7.75, that was really long ago when interest rates was that low. 5,000 negative payment per month, 0 future value, 350,000 as your present value. So what I got, so what I got is 86.29 months divided by 12, 7.19, 7.91 years. Sure, is there? Okay, cool. 7.19. So there is actually, it just looked totally different. Okay, so there is 7.91. So let me quickly, I just want to check if we put in 480,000 as your present value, kept everything else the same. So if you use the 480 instead of a 320, the option would have been option 1 as 12.53 years. So again, very important to realize what we need to do with a deposit. We need to subtract that from the bigger amount, and then we will get the deposit on that. Okay, so again, we use nearly the payments per year or the payments every month. The present value, remember, future value needs to be 0 because at the end of the 7.19 years, I don't have a loan anymore. Okay, so then the last one is looking at something where, again, Mr. Moshoko wants to start investing for his son's tertiary studies. He wants to have 400,000 available in 12 years' time. Sure. Okay, so his future value that he wants is 400,000. He wants to have that in 12 years. His interest account return is 8.5% per year, compounded weekly. So here we have 12 years, but it is 52 times per year because there's 52 weeks in a year. So his weekly investment into this account to the nearest rand has to be. Okay, so future value, the, the zero present value, so that we can work out what the PMT is. So let's make that negative, so then the PMT will be a positive number. So, let's see, 400,000 negative, that is your future value. We don't have a present value because we're doing weekly installments. So 25 times, 52 times per year. We're gonna make payments for 12 years. That's incredible, 624 payments at 8.5% interest per year, and the present or the PMT amount then is we're gonna make weekly payments of 369 rand and 22 cents, rounded off to the nearest rand. It is 369. Okay, which is option 2. If we did not say 52 times per year, but 12 times per year as we would normally do, our answer would have been, let me just check, PMT. Guys, we don't get that. It says 153. That doesn't make sense. So I just want to test if we did 12 times per year, what it might have come out as. Okay, so if we said 12 times per year and not 52 times per year, then our answer would have been 1607. Okay, so that would have been if we said 12 times per year. So again, unfortunately, if we had the previous question where it was 12 times per year, we did not change it to 52 times per year because of a weekly, there would have also been an answer for us. So nearly just very important again in this one that we make sure that we work with the right period per year. What is lucky in this exam is that the 52 times per year was the last question. What can happen is that they nearly ask it way here up front, that you're working with the 52 times per year. And then, so if it was something like this, we got this one first, we do the 52 times per year. Then again, remember when you do the second question that you need to change it back to 12. And I know my HB doesn't matter to just say clear all. The memory is still then, because it's pre or programmed, that you still need to change the periods per year. So just be nearly very careful with all of these interest questions is when you put in, and specifically the biggest one that's normally the issue is the period per year. So how many payments are made per year? So that's normally the biggest one. The other thing that you would have seen now, I like to, when I use this in formulas, I like to at least the one that's not relevant, just to make it 0, just again for my my calculator not to nearly have a previous question that it still have something in my memory. So here we knew that future value would be 0, so I just added it. In this instance, I knew that my present value is 0. So again, to make sure that we nearly don't get it, that one of the previous question still has some info in there, I just make sure again that we make it 0 from the start, so that you just don't get in your answer sets nearly a problem in there. Okay, so that was nearly the last two sessions that we went through one of the exam papers that I had. You can see it was nearly looking at expressions, simplification of expressions, looking at solving some equations. Then it went into your measurements. So for your circumference, your area, your volume, and then it went into a bit still to do with area and thing, but nearly use the area to work out the pricing. And then we, and this was strange because we went into your interest rates and that work in question 12, and then suddenly they moved away from that to first look at your linear graphs. Then they brought into that linear graphs nearly a profit calculation. We went then into your lowest common multiplier, then back nearly into simplification, equation again, so where we needed to work with a line, and then we started with a percentage, the ratio. So it was a bit of a mix nearly how the exam was structured, and then the last 5 questions was all on your financial maths kind of questions. So next time we will work through another paper. I will again we can look at the structure, we can look at those things, just so that when you guys are writing, that you're not surprised by certain things in a certain flow. But I will also look at if I can find anything on if it's open book or not, and what other supporting documents you guys can have with you. So I will also see if I can find anything that can assist you in answering that. Okay, so next week we're gonna look at the next paper. I think, do I have your what what date are you writing, Tamlin? Has it been nearly been confirmed? Oh, it should have been confirmed because all the other guys, all the exam dates have been confirmed. So if you can just also nearly put the exam date for me in the chat as well, then at least one can see. I thought it was okay. So it's basically to, when is it? Friday the 7th. Oh, are you guys actually writing on a Saturday? Huh. That's the first time that I. So let's also just make sure that it's not the 20th, but yeah, it's the first time that I hear somebody's actually writing on a Saturday. So we've got about 2 sessions left, but what we can also do is I will check if we can maybe in this week before you write, we can add another extra session or two. So please, if any of you that's also later on listening to the recording have any exam papers that you want us to work through, please send it to me. If you have questions that we need to specifically look at, please send that to me, and I'm sure we can make arrangements that before the 21st. So yes, we will sit next week, the 11th. We will have a session on the 18th, but it might even that we can work in a session on the 16th or 17th as well. So let's see how that can work. Yeah, and that is when it for tonight. So have a very good evening. If you are and probably already prepping for other exams, good luck.